The night was clear, the kind of night that makes you want to pause and look up, just to marvel at the universe. The air was crisp and cool, carrying the faint scent of dew and distant flowers. Above, the stars shone with a brilliance that seemed almost magical, each one twinkling like a tiny diamond scattered across a velvet canvas. It was the sort of night that felt peaceful, timeless, and safe. But then, something felt off. There was a strange tension in the air, a subtle shift that made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. When you looked up, you saw it. The moon, but not as you'd ever seen it before. It was enormous, impossibly huge, dominating the sky with its pale, glowing face. It seemed to swallow the stars, its light so bright it turned night into a ghostly twilight. The moon filled the sky, looming over the city like a silent, watchful eye. It was so close, so impossibly near, that it felt as if you could reach out and brush your fingers across its cratered surface. People stepped outside, drawn by the strange light, their faces bathed in silver. Some reached up, as if hoping to touch the moon to prove it was real. Others simply stared, transfixed by the sight, unable to look away from the impossible. All across the city, people stopped in their tracks. The usual sounds of the night, distant traffic, laughter, music, faded into silence. In the streets, on balconies, at windows, everyone was looking up. It was as if time itself had paused, the world holding its breath in the face of something so strange, so unexpected. Fingers pointed skyward, trembling with disbelief. Some people gasped, their hands flying to their mouths in shock. Others whispered prayers, clutching each other tightly, searching for comfort in the face of the unknown. Children clung to their parents, wide-eyed and silent. Fear rippled through the crowd, a shared sense of dread settling over everyone. What was happening? Was this a dream, or a nightmare come to life? Questions buzzed through the air, whispered from one person to another. Why was the moon so big? Was it falling? Was it a sign, a warning, or something else entirely? No one had answers. The scientists on the news looked just as confused as everyone else. All anyone could do was stare and wonder, hearts pounding with a mixture of awe and fear. This was not the moon we knew. It was something different, something alien and unsettling. The familiar face of the moon had become a stranger, casting an eerie, unnatural light over the world. It felt as if the universe itself had shifted, and nothing would ever be the same again. In that moment, everyone understood. This was something strange, something terrifying. And no one knew what would happen next. The scientists appeared on television. They looked worried. They spoke quickly. A gravitational anomaly, one said. The moon is closer than usual, said another. It's just an illusion, a third scientist assured everyone. The moon is not actually moving closer to Earth. Their words were meant to calm us, but they didn't. The sight of the moon was too powerful. It was hard to believe this was just an illusion. I couldn't take my eyes off the moon. It hung there, suspended in the ink-black sky, impossibly bright and impossibly close, as if it were watching me just as intently as I watched it. The silver light poured through my window, painting the room in ghostly shades and making the ordinary seem strange and unfamiliar. I felt a chill, not from the night air, but from the sense that something was about to happen. Something old, something remembered by the world even if we had forgotten. There was something about it, the way the clouds drifted lazily across its face, the way its glow seemed to pulse with a life of its own. It was as if the moon was trying to tell me a secret, whispering through the shifting shadows and the silent night. I felt drawn to it, unable to look away, as if some invisible thread connected us across the vast distance, something that drew me in. I stepped outside, letting the cool night air wrap around me, and stood beneath the open sky. The world was quiet, the only sound my own breath and the distant rustle of leaves. The moon seemed even larger now, looming above the rooftops, its light casting long, eerie shadows across the ground. I felt as though I was standing at the edge of a memory, on the threshold of something ancient and powerful. I remembered an old story, a story my grandfather used to tell me when I was a child, sitting by the fire on nights just like this. He would lean in close, his voice low and serious, and speak of times when the moon was not a distant companion, but a looming presence that filled the sky and the hearts of those who watched it with fear and awe. My grandfather told me about a time when the moon was close. He said that in those days, people would gather in their homes, locking their doors and windows, whispering prayers to keep the darkness at bay. The moon, he said, was a sign, a warning that something was coming, something that could not be stopped or reasoned with. He spoke of strange happenings, of animals falling silent and shadows moving where they shouldn't. He said it was a bad omen. The elders would watch the sky with anxious eyes, and the children would be kept indoors, told not to look at the moon for too long. My grandfather's face would grow serious as he described the fear that settled over the village, the sense that the world was holding its breath, waiting for something to break the silence. I went to the library. The memory of his words haunted me, and I needed to know more. The library was nearly empty, the only sounds the soft creak of the floorboards and the distant hum of the lights. I wandered between the shelves, searching for answers in the quiet gloom. I searched for information about the moon. I found old books, their covers worn and pages yellowed with age. The smell of dust and paper filled the air as I flipped through them, looking for anything that might explain the strange pull I felt, the sense of foreboding that clung to me like a shadow. Books full of legends and myths, stories of the moon as a goddess, a guardian, a harbinger of change. Some spoke of blessings, others of curses. There were tales of people who vanished on moonlit nights, of crops that withered under its gaze, of dreams that turned to nightmares when the moon was full and bright. The stories were all different. Some were hopeful, others filled with dread. But each one seemed to echo the same warning, the same sense that the moon was more than just a distant rock in the sky. It was a presence, a force that shaped the world in ways we could not always understand. But they all agreed on one thing. No matter where the story came from, no matter who told it or how it ended, there was always a moment when the moon drew close and the world seemed to hold its breath. It was a time of uncertainty, of fear and wonder, when anything felt possible and nothing felt safe. A close moon meant danger. It was a warning from the past, a whisper carried through generations, reminding us that some mysteries are never truly solved, and some stories never really end. As I closed the last book and looked out the window at the glowing moon, I felt the weight of those old fears settle over me, and I wondered what secrets the night still held. I read about ancient civilizations that no longer existed. They had left behind strange structures that seemed to point to the sky, stone circles, pyramids, temples, all aligned with the stars. And then I found it, a message carved into a stone. It was a warning about the night the moon would be close, the night the moon would bring danger. The ancient people seemed to know something we didn't. They knew the moon was not just a ball of rock in the sky. They knew it was something more, something powerful, something to be feared. But what did they know? And how did they know it? I needed to learn more. I needed to understand. The moon was a mystery, and I was determined to solve it. I studied the stars. I learned about their movements, their cycles, and, well, their influence on our planet. Then I realized something. The moon's closeness was not random. It was not an accident. It was part of a pattern that had been repeating itself for thousands of years. The ancients knew about this pattern. They knew what it meant. And, they left warnings for us. Warnings we had ignored. Then it hit me. The truth was right there in front of me. The moon was not just closer, it was different. I looked through my telescope and I saw something on the surface, something that wasn't there before, a symbol, the same symbol I had seen on the ancient stone. The moon was trying to tell us something, but what? I watched as the moon slowly moved away. It returned to its normal size. The danger, whatever it was, had passed, for now. But honestly, I was left with more questions than answers. Who created the symbol on the moon? What did it mean? And why did they choose to communicate with us now? The universe was a vast and mysterious place, full of secrets waiting to be discovered. The night the moon loomed large in our sky, it was as if the universe itself was trying to get our attention. The moon, usually a distant companion, suddenly felt impossibly close, its silvery glow bathing the world in an ethereal light. People everywhere paused, drawn outside by the spectacle, their faces turned upward in awe. For a moment the ordinary routines of life faded away, replaced by a collective sense of wonder and curiosity. The city lights seemed dimmer, the noise quieter, as if the world was holding its breath. We were reminded of our place in the universe, a tiny blue planet spinning through the vastness of space, surrounded by mysteries we can barely comprehend. The stars above, scattered like diamonds across a velvet sky, whispered stories of creation and eternity. In that moment, we felt both insignificant and connected, part of something much greater than ourselves. The universe, with all its beauty and danger, seemed to invite us to look beyond our daily lives and consider the infinite possibilities that lie beyond our world. We were reminded that we are not alone, not just in the sense of other people sharing the same sky, but in the sense that we are part of a cosmic story that stretches back billions of years. The same moon that watched over ancient civilizations now watched over us, connecting us to our ancestors and to each other. As we gazed upward, we wondered if somewhere out there other beings might be looking back, pondering their own place in the cosmos. We were reminded that there are forces out there beyond our understanding, forces that shape the tides, stir the winds, and light up the heavens with storms and stars. The universe is full of phenomena that defy explanation, from the birth of galaxies to the dance of subatomic particles. Each flash of lightning, each swirl of cloud, is a reminder that we are surrounded by mysteries waiting to be unraveled. The moon itself, with its craters and shadows, holds secrets that scientists are still striving to uncover. And as I looked up at the stars, I felt the weight of those mysteries pressing in on me. The night air was cool, the world quiet except for the distant sounds of nature. I stood in the darkness, feeling both small and infinite, as if I could reach out and touch the stars themselves. The universe seemed to stretch on forever, and yet, in that moment, it felt intimately close, a part of me, and I a part of it. I felt a sense of wonder, a deep curiosity about what lies beyond our world. The stars reflected in my eyes, I imagined distant planets, swirling nebulae, and the possibility of life far from Earth. My mind raced with questions. What else is out there? What secrets does the universe hold? The beauty of the night sky filled me with hope and excitement, a longing to explore and understand the cosmos. But also, a sense of unease crept in. The vastness of space can be overwhelming, a reminder of how little we truly know. The moon's light, so beautiful, also cast long shadows, shadows that hinted at the unknown. I felt a chill, not just from the night air, but from the realization that the universe is not always a gentle place. There are dangers out there, and mysteries that may never be solved. The more we learn, the more we realize how much remains hidden, for I knew that the moon had a secret it has kept for eons, hidden beneath its silent surface. Scientists have long wondered about its origins, its strange composition, and the stories locked in its ancient rocks. Some say the moon was born from a cataclysmic collision. Others believe it holds clues to the early days of our solar system. Its craters and shadows seem to guard these secrets jealously, revealing only glimpses to those who dare to look closer. And one day, we might have to face it. The mysteries of the moon and of the universe are not just scientific puzzles, but challenges that will shape our future. As we continue to explore, to ask questions and to seek answers, we must be ready for whatever truths we uncover. For now we stand beneath the moon's watchful gaze, humbled and inspired, knowing that our place in the cosmos is both fragile and extraordinary.